I'd like to first introduce myself. I'm Minerva Altaba, the chair for the Great El Paso Association of Realtor Builder Committee. I would like to welcome each and every one of you and thank you for attending today's Realtor Builder presentation. Rising cost concerns in the new home construction. At this time, I would like to introduce our panel. Sergio Cuarta with Big Homes, Raul Estrada with Carefree Homes. Oops, sorry, we're going to replace Raul with Dennis Carmen with Carefree Homes, Juanita Garcia and Samira Lopez with Icon Homes, and Edmundo Dena with Everest Homes. Thank you to each and every one of you for participating in today's presentations. Questions will be addressed to a specific builder. If any of you would like to comment on that question, please feel free to do so after the question has been answered. When all the questions have been answered, then we will open it up for Q&A. Let's get started. First question will be addressed to Sergio Cuarta with Big Homes. What increases are you seeing in materials?
Thank you, Minerva. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, I would like to share a screen if I can. Can you do that?
The one who has control of this will be Hilda Beck with Gebhardt. So I'm not sure if she's able to.
Yeah, we're doing it right now.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna try here. Do you all see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you see, for example, lumber prices in 2020, composite prices, this time last year, about $300 for lumber in general. And do you see that?
Yes, sir, we can see,
Okay, so that's March, late March 2020. Okay, and if you look at those prices today, they're 1,600, about 1,700 actually this morning. So this means about a 500% increase, 400% increase in the composite price of lumber. As Caroline mentioned this morning, the price of a sheet of OSB, people call it plywood. We used to pay $7, $9, $12 is crazy. And today we're paying $50, $60. Caroline said she paid $62, something like that. So this is only lumber, but lumber represents a large portion of our construction cost, probably 20%. But you're seeing the increases in other materials, such as copper prices. They have increased by about 30%. However, at the retail price for some of our electricians, that translates into a double of the price of copper. So we're seeing an increase on theft. People are stealing the cable. We experienced shortages of stoves, water heaters, refrigerators, roofing material. And now with the increase in oil prices, that's translating also to concrete and sheetrock. And so that's just materials, okay? So that's a quick introduction to materials increases. This translates by some estimates in the $60,000 increase in the cost of a home.
No.
Now, some estimates say for El Paso, probably 30,000, depending on the square footage. But this is not local or state. This is nationwide. I mean, excuse me, this is global. This is a global situation.
Right.
So this is just to tell you guys that we're not trying to make any money by raising the price. We're trying to pass on some of the cost to the consumer. Does that answer the question, Minerva?
Yes, thank you very much, Sergio. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next question is to Dennis Carmen with Carefree Homes. Texas quarterly housing report shows a 12.7% increase compared to this time last year. Compared to this time last year, how much of an increase would you say your homes have experienced?
Let me just share something with you. Like Sergio was saying right now with the cost of lumber, that's just one area there. Somebody shared a picture with me yesterday. It was a little picture of a couple. One of the couple was saying, take me to the most expensive restaurant that you can or expensive place. And so they're showing the couple inside a warehouse filled with lumber having dinner together, if that says anything. It has been a challenge on that side. Talking about prices, I guess, because I see the closings that are going on right now. I'll give you an example. We had a home back in probably, I would say that was contracted back in July of last year. That's barely, or actually is getting ready to close this month. That home was priced out at $204,950 when we originally sold that house. That current house on the market sells for $243,950. And this is a house getting ready to close. And of course, from a builder standpoint, we priced that house out based upon the current market at that time, not realizing that lumber and shortages and everything were going to take such a big effect on pricing. So as Sergio was saying, right now, most of the builders are out there just saying, okay, what can we increase now? And how do we minimize the prices that we set, 8 or 9 or 10 months ago on these homes that are getting ready to close? And that's where the challenge is right now. But again, price increases anywhere from maybe $30,000 to $50,000 right now based upon that. So you're looking at increases of about at least 25% on some of our homes.
Okay.
If that tells you anything, some of our bigger, go ahead.
No, that tells us quite a bit. Percentage wise, that's quite a bit of an increase. What were you going to say? I'm sorry. We can't hear you. Put your mic. Sorry.
What's funny is I see my daughter doing this all the time. I use a different system, so Zoom is new to me. But again, talking about price increase, it is a challenge right now for every single builder. I'm trying to see what's the right price to set on their homes. But again, increases up to 50 or more on some of these homes right now. So that's all I wanted to share.
Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate it. Thank you. The next question is to Juanita Garcia and Samira Lopez, Icon Homes. Are you having a difficult time finding subcontractors, and are they demanding higher wages?
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We were having a hard time finding subcontractors. It's not so much that we're having a hard time finding subcontractors, but the subcontractors themselves are having a hard time finding employees to fulfill all the workload that they have. So we have most of our subcontractors, but they're very slow because of the workload that we have. So it's taking them a lot longer to finish homes because they don't have workers. And yes, a lot of the subcontractors are asking for more prices, for more increases in pay because they're having to pay more. The electrician is having to pay more, so he's just gonna transfer the cost to us. Plumbers are having to pay more, so of course they transfer the cost to us. So everybody's increasing the prices. All of our subcontractors have pretty much increased most of their pricing, and they're taking longer to finish a job because they don't have enough workers. So it's just delaying, and the houses are sitting longer because of that.
Thank you, Juanita. Appreciate it.
So let me just add to that very quickly.
Please do.
The fact, and good morning, everybody. The
morning.
fact that unemployment, it's very, very high. And the fact that there's a lot of money be giving, lately, also has been a factor, for labor shortage more than anything. It's very difficult, to find qualified personnel in order to fulfill the demand that we have right now. Now, all these contracts, that we sign November, December, of course, pile up and bottleneck at that point, that a lot of the trades are struggling to get workers back. We even have a couple of trades, like letting us know, I don't have any people. They just got their checks and they decided to stay home. And the fact that we still, live in COVID time, that's another factor that we have faced, that people are getting sick, they work together, and sometimes they have to shut their trades and their work, for a period until, they get better.
Thank you. Thank you, Samira. Very well said. Our next question is to Edmundo Bean, Everest Homes. How are you working with buyers that are already under contract regarding price increases?
So I always have a close relationship with my customers, and this is just me. I keep them informed of everything that is happening, and so it's never a surprise. It'll never be a surprise. Additionally to that, my contract covers that. That there is a I'll give you the right terminology, escalation of certain materials and categories. So I have a clause in my contract that notifies them that this could be a possibility. The other thing that I do is on my contract, I give them I have a clause for permitted delays. So I always keep my customer and agents informed of what is happening in the market, so nothing comes to a surprise. And I think that's key into keeping customers happy and realtors happy with that.
Excellent. Have Edmundo, on that note, have you had to go back to some of your clients and do a price increase on some of the homes?
I have not had to do that yet. I'm a custom home builder, so there's always change orders. There's always things happening in my home. So I haven't had to do that.
Yet, okay. Right, okay. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it, Edmundo. Our next question is to Dennis Carmen, Carefree Homes. Dennis, how are you handling trying to get homes completed on time? Is that even a possibility? And what is the time frame to complete a home from start to finish?
Well, that's a fantastic question. I've been doing this for a long time with Carefree and other builders. Time frame wise, if you were looking at about 1.5 years ago, our time frame, even on our bigger homes, was about 6 months. And that was from taking the contract all the way through closing. Right now, our homes are taking anywhere from 10 months to 12 months to complete. So again, like the person at Icon was talking about, the builder, it has been a challenge to try to get these homes out on time. And that is a lot due because of the lack of trades out there and the time it's taking them to get enough people on their job sites to finish everything. So it's almost doubled our turnaround time. And from a builder standpoint, that affects quite a few different things. That affects the loans that we have to take out, because we're like the buyer, we have to take out a construction loan to start and finish that house. And if now we're having to pay more interest because that loan is taking longer, because it's taking longer to close and for us to repay, it is becoming a challenge for us. Again, we consider ourselves a semi-custom track home builder. And our whole thing is, you get a great value for the price that you're paying. And El Paso is becoming a challenge because we're seeing the homes that we used to build, be able to build at, 150, 160. Those days are gone. You're going to start seeing everything over $200,000.
Correct. I think this is affecting a lot of the first-time home buyers here in El Paso. So It's really a shame because the pricing now is where the average income here in El Paso can't probably afford a home anymore, unfortunately. Thank you very much, Dennis. Appreciate it. Our next question is to Sergio Cuarta, Big Homes. Are you implementing new forms to explain the changes that are taking place? If so, can you please give some examples?
Thank you, Minerva. Yes, we have a new addendum to the contract that explains that there might be a price increase, that explains that if the appraised value does not hit the required price increase, that the buyer will have to pay for the difference. And there is also a notice to the buyer that says that we are not responsible for locking rates or responsible for any losses that the buyer might occur if the rates aren't, if they can't keep the rate because of the delays in construction. We stole this form from Edgar from Palo Verde. Like we normally do. This is part of an adjustment. I was talking to some of our people yesterday, and we were saying, "Oh, what a challenge, you know." But we'll be fine, you know. We've survived 2008. We've survived 2018. So when copper prices also went up dramatically. So we're saying we will survive. We're making adjustments to survive. And they were saying, well, this is the history of humanity, you know. Nobody had seen the First World War when it happened, or the Second World War, or the Great Depression. It was all new, or all of the other pandemic. So this is what builders are doing. We need to adjust, we need to change, and we need to work together. So part of the idea of this meeting was to get in touch with you guys, me as Big Homes and everyone else, as the builders. I thank you guys for participating. We wanted to reach out and do what maybe we should have done a few months back and say, look, guys, this is what's going on. Please try to understand what's happening. If you need help, please reach out. Don't. I mean, we're always there to help you. And like Mundo said, like he always keeps his customers and realtors informed. We probably don't do as good a job, but this is part of that effort, starting to reach out to the realtor community and say, thank you for selling our homes. And we appreciate you guys. And we want to keep that dialogue, that communication going back and forth. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergio. One of the things that I like that you're doing is that you are meeting with every individual client. If there's going to have to be an increase, you're taking the time to meet with them and explain to them and work with them. So I think that's really important. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minette. But we're only meeting if the customer requests a meeting, maybe on those where the price increase is 25.
Correct, with the price increases.
On the smaller increases, we're finding that customers and realtors are pretty understanding. So there is more of a wide knowledge right now.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sergio. Appreciate it. Our next question is to Juanita Garcia and Samir Lopez, Icon. Are you making any adjustments to tackle the drastic changes that are taking place? Can you please give an example?
Sorry, I couldn't find
There
that.
you go.
So what we just did, we put a hold on taking contracts because, as you know, we're a fully custom builder. So for us, we're not just throwing out the same plan, and it's harder for us to meet each one of our clients' needs when the houses are so custom and we don't have enough workers or prices are going up. So what we've decided to do is we stopped signing contracts for right now so that we can catch up with the clients that we have right now and give them a better service. Right now we were, like Samira was saying, people are not showing up to work, so houses are sitting and houses are just bottling up. So what we decided to do is just catch up on what we have right now. And then we're gonna start signing more contracts because we don't wanna have a house on frame just sitting there because windows are not in here. For example, windows used to take 3 weeks to get here. Now they're taking up to 12 weeks from the time we order them. So there's no point on throwing the foundation, forming the houses, framing them, and just having them sit there for 6 weeks without windows. So for us, we decided to stop taking contracts for now. We still have a lot holds with the clients we had, but we just want to catch up so that we can give our clients a better service. And so that nobody wants to see a house sitting there in frame for 6 weeks and nobody's doing anything to it. So that's one of the things that we actually just implemented this week to try and catch up.
Thank you, Juanita.
Samira?
I think, setting up the right expectation to the homeowner, the ones, that we're starting the process is very, very important. And explaining to them, and the realtors when they come in, the challenges that we're facing right now with construction. In some instances, in this, we're talking about Icon because we're custom, we do allow, for certain upgrades and materials, to be ordered as special order. And in some events, these materials they don't get here on time. And we need to tell the buyer, that they need to pick something else because we cannot delay the process even longer. So setting the expectations at the beginning so they understand that we cannot set a closing date, or we cannot even plan ahead, what's going to happen next month. So that's very, very important. And with what Juanita said, that we stop taking contracts in order to do the right thing, being responsible and not overwhelm the field for unnecessary, contracts that we fall short, in servicing the customer.
Thank you. Thank you, Samira. Very well said. I'd like to also ask that same question to Dennis. Dennis Carmen with Carefree Homes. Are you making any adjustments to tackle the drastic changes that are taking place? And can you please give us some examples?
I think the building industry here in El Paso, the new home builders are going in the right direction. It's a challenge right now to finish homes. We used to be able to finish 40, 50 homes per month and close, 450, 500. Right now, it is a challenge just trying to close 30 homes based upon the current market conditions. And from our standpoint, along with some of the other builders out there, we have to hold back our construction, and not so much construction, but are taking in new contracts. Because what tends to happen if we take too many contracts, then we're not going to meet the customer's expectations that are out there. So right now, we're not taking any contracts for this month, next month, and maybe the month after. We don't know right now. Right now, we have so much in our pipeline that we are trying to meet the expectations of those customers. By us adding more, all we're doing is prolonging those homes that normally take, right now take 10 months to 12 months. Now we're pushing it a year, 14, 16 months. And right now with cost of product and materials and labor increasing weekly, it is a challenge to set prices out there. So we would rather just hold off on taking more contracts to see what this market is going to do at this point. So along with some of the other builders, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to hold back on taking contracts. We have to. There's just no way we can price out a home correctly and expect to make a profit on there. Some of the homes right now we're challenged. Example, that one I told you about that closed at 204,000, or it's getting ready to close, and now it's 243. All we're trying to do is break even on that home right now. And we have to maybe go back to the buyers to say, hey, you know what, we may need to bump up the price. It is in our contract to do that, to either accept a contract, just like the buyer can terminate a contract, so can the builder if necessary. But we need to stay viable in this market. We're not going to take the approach like some of the national builders that just terminate contracts at this point. But right now, we don't know what this market's going to do. And right now, we need stay viable. And the builders in El Paso are a vital part to El Paso's economy, and we need to stay in business and keep going. So again, like some of the builders, we are cutting back our desire to take more contracts at this time.
Thank you, Dennis. Appreciate it. Thank you. This is going to be our last question, but I would like for each and every one of you to answer it. First, Edmundo Dena with Everest Homes. If there's one thing that you can tell realtors so that they can better assist with the changes that are taking place, what would that be?
Stay informed, talk to the builders, be open and receptive to the information that we are giving to you. I'm giving to my realtors the information that I get on a weekly basis. Anybody that asks me, I'll give you that information. I'll give you graphs, I'll give you stats, I'll give you pricing. I'll share all that information. It's just stay informed. It's constantly changing. It all started with the pandemic, with opening and shutting down plants. Every week is different. Every week is different. Yesterday it was paint. Literally yesterday it was paint. I understand it started about a week ago. Now we're short on paint, and now the price is going to increase on paint. The week before that was something else, and the week before that something else. So it's constantly changing. This is a global problem. So stay informed, to be able to inform your clients. I don't believe there's a builder out there doesn't want to keep you informed. Ask your builder. He will tell you, he'll be honest with you, because it's something we can't control.
Thank you. Thank you, Edmundo. Sergio, would you like to answer that question as well?
Sure. Well, the one thing that I want to leave you guys with here is don't worry. This is the idea, is to inform you, not to cry out fire to everyone, to all of your contracts out there. We made that mistake before, and I don't think it's good. I think what we need to do is take it on a deal-by-deal basis, on a case-by-case basis. I will agree with Mundo and others, Dennis, Samira, Juanita, that it's important to be informed. That's why we're here. But take it on a case-by-case basis. Take it easy. Continue doing this. We will survive. The industry will survive. The economy is doing great. Interest rates are low. When speculation ends, this thing is going to have to come down. Might be 6 months. We just need to adjust and change with the times and survive. So thank you guys for selling our houses and for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sergio. Juanita or Dennis or Samira, would you also like to answer this question? I'll repeat it for the guest, everyone that's involved. If there's one thing that you can tell realtors so that they can better assist with the changes that are taking place, what would that be?
I want to add that, like Sergio mentioned, to clarify to realtors that we're not banking. As builders, we're not banking what's going on right now. We're actually getting hit, by trying to, we sold these contracts a long time ago. Nobody was accounting for all the materials to go so high. Like we could probably estimate, a little bit of a price increase. And we were always hopeful since the beginning of the year that the prices were gonna stop increasing. And it didn't. They haven't. Our material costs, our labor costs, it's so high. And we're all here, to try to make money, right? At the end of the game, we are, we work out of a profit because we do have responsibilities. And of course, you guys want to sell. This is not something, that as builders, we are accounted for. We're trying to do the best that we can. And I hope, that meetings like this, will help realtors understand, what builders are going through.
Thank you. Thank you, Samira.
If I could share something,
Yes, please.
Dennis. I would ask the realtors kind of what we're asking our employees. We have to work together. Right now, there's a lot of challenges that are out there. And again, working together is our best opportunity to get through this. We also have to pray for wisdom. And that's one of the biggest things that I always look at. And that's what we share with our employees. Be patient, pray for wisdom, and let's work together. And that's all I can leave the realtors out there with, my best suggestion on how to get through this. And I just want to thank everybody out there for supporting and helping the builders of El Paso.
Thank you, Dennis. Appreciate it. At this time, we are going to open it up for Q&A. Hilda Bex with Gebhardt will assist with this.
Okay, I just see a question on here. It's what percentage of the home cost is wood-related lumber? And what impact does this have on the increase of the final sales price?
Any one of you can feel free to answer if you want to either raise your hand or just open up your mic.
That all depends. That all depends on the builder. I mean, if it's a tract home builder, that's going to have a certain percentage. If you're a custom home builder, it's going to have a different percentage. I would say about 40% of my costs are in framing. And so when that goes up 180%, I mean, the math is it's going to affect the sales price significantly.
Thank you, Edmundo.
So for us, I think lumber, normally, it's a big portion of our construction costs, and it's 65% of the overall construction increases, and OSB is main, it has increased about 300%. In some materials, and I'm gonna give an example, OSB, that May 2020, we were paying $9.99. Right now we're being charged $41.99. So you can only imagine. And then that just throughout, all the materials.
Thank you, Samira.
For us, it's probably about 25% of the construction cost of the home. Did you hear that? 25% for a semi-custom or tract home.
Thank you, Sergio. Hilda, any more questions?
Yes, let me pull it up. Okay. If you bump up the price and buyer doesn't agree, what happens to the money they spent for upgrades?
Can I share something real quick?
Yes,
Hello?
please.
Okay, what we're doing right now, based upon all these increases that are going on, if in our situation, if we're looking at possibly taking a price increase for a home buyer, we're actually giving the buyer the opportunity to get all of their money back. So we're not keeping earnest money, payments, deposits. We are returning all of that at this point with Carefree Homes. We just felt that's the right thing to do. Do we want to cancel or terminate a home? We don't. We'd rather close on it. That's not our goal. But if the buyer decides, you know what, I do not want to pay that increase, it may be $3,000, it may be $5,000, it may be $10,000, and it's going to be a very small percentage of home buyers that will be closing. But that is what we're doing as a company currently.
Thank you, Dennis.
What we're doing, Minerva, is we're doing it on a case-by-case basis. For example, if we have a customer, it's in the beginning stages of the home, and if they request a lot of upgrades and they're kind of iffy about remaining on contract, and for example, the home is in a slab, or we haven't even poured a slab, and the customer wants to put in $20,000-$30,000 of upgrades. And we know that that home is going to increase in price. So we are having them sign that they will lose the money, the extras money. In every other contract where we have already increased the price, we will offer the option of giving them all of their money back, including upgrades and earnest money like Dennis is doing or Jeffrey is doing. But on a specific case-by-case basis, if they're putting in a lot of money and we haven't even started the home and we know there is going to be a change, we're asking them to agree that they will lose those extras. At the end of the day, we might end up having to give them back, but we want them to be all in or all out.
Can I add something to that along with Sergio was talking
Yes,
about?
please, Dennis.
Just as an example, right now, some of the builders like us, we're asking for a very small increase. I mean, these buyers are still going to end up with $30,000, $40,000, 20 something of equity in their home based upon their current price. And it's been a very small percentage. That's something we just started this month because we looked at what's going on in the market, and we need to stay viable and we need to at least break even. But again, we haven't had any buyers say no. Does that make sense? And a lot of it is, and I attribute to some of the realtors doing a great job and showing their buyers, hey, you know what, this is a very small what the builder's asking for. He's not asking for the full price of what the current house. He's only asking for $3,000 or $5,000, just enough to break even. So as a company, Carefree, we're trying to do the best we can right now with the current situation. And we haven't had anybody say no. And we don't think that's going to happen because, again, with the help of realtors and showing them and informing them, this is the current market. There's very little out there for them to look at. And in the long run, the buyer's doing well from an equity standpoint, closing on this home.
Absolutely, Dennis. I think that's why this presentation is really important to help the realtors to understand and have more knowledge of what's taking place in regards to the builders and what they're having to go through as well. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Hilda, do we have any further questions?
Yes. Here's another one. Prices of future homes are going up. I understand that. Why increase the price on complete homes that were built pre-inflation prices? I've seen contracts being canceled because of this situation.
Can I answer that?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'll give you an idea. We took contracts back in June, July of last year. And of course, it's taking us 10 to 11 months to finish. Those prices were based upon pricing at the market. And again, somebody was saying, well, how much has it increased in terms of lumber costs? It could be 20, 25%. We as a builder do not pay for everything up front. We take construction loans as we go along. And what tends to happen is all of a sudden we're budgeting so much for lumber. And all of a sudden that by the time that home hits, that lumber cost has increased $10,000, $15,000, based upon what we thought it was going to be at. And again, this is being hit on several different areas. It could be, like Sergio was talking about copper prices increasing by 30%. Now you have the electrician coming back saying, hey, we're going to increase your price by, again, 30% at least, because that's what he's being hit with. Right now there's lack of labor, and for that person to get that rock wall guy, which is kind of out there right now, the issues, I'm going to charge you instead of so much per foot per 16 feet, I'm going to charge you double the amount. So as we're going along in the construction process, you're being hit by those increases. So sometimes people say, well, why isn't the price the same as what you initially did the contract for? Because again, as a builder, we're anticipating, we're thinking this is what the price is going to be. But that house that was built back in or contracted back in July or August of last year already took about at least $30,000 of increases during the construction phases. So again, explain that to a home buyer that's getting ready to to buy a home or to close, and saying this is why the builder may be asking you to pay a little bit, because those increases happened over that period of time of construction. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Dennis.
To add to that, as builders, we used to, lumber, we used to give us pricing, and most likely it was going to be good for 12 months. And then that changed every 6 months. And now we're getting pricing for lumber, on a monthly basis. It is kind of difficult, to kind of guess and see the future. And for Icon, we haven't done any of that. We haven't increased any of the prices unless, for any reason the buyers don't qualify, and then it gives us the opportunity to go back and check on our costs and make a modification to the price.
And for that, thank you, Samira. There's also a little bit of a difference between a custom home and a standard home. So I would say that that's probably why some of the custom builders are not getting hit as hard, I would say. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Minerva,
Yes, ma'am.
you are getting hit just as hard.
Well, but you're able to charge a little bit more dollar per square foot because you're custom versus a standard home where they're not able to charge as much dollar per square foot because the competition is very fierce with standard builders.
Yeah, but we are.
That's what I meant to say. So there's no misunderstanding.
Like,
I know you guys are getting hit hard. Everyone is. That's why you all are here today. Trust me. That's why you all are here. Yeah.
just the stress. And just like the gentleman from Carefree was saying, I think I heard him say that he's barely closing on homes that he was contracted in July. If that's taking them that long, imagine us. I used to be clients. We'll finish once we pour your foundation, your house will be ready in 7 to 8 months on a custom home. That's what we used to say. And now I can't even guarantee a year. It's just crazy. And like,
well, and just to let you know, Juanita, I do know of other custom builders that have increased by 5% their original sales price. So they are increasing pricing as well. So just maybe not as much, but yes, I have seen an increase as well.
it's hitting everybody.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Minerva,
Any
can I
other
say something,
questions?
please?
Yes.
Okay. I think it's important to note that when COVID hit, the restrictions put on the builders was immense. All of the code, they only were allowed so many laborers on site at one time. They had to, all the restrictions where they had to get someone that was taking their temperature when they arrived, taking their temperature when they went to lunch, taking it when they came back from lunch, and taking it again when they left. And there was all these restrictions and caused slowness in there, that in the fact that you couldn't have the normal amount of bodies at a construction site is what began a process of elongating a closing, the building process. And then as, things got worse, into when El Paso got really hit with all our large numbers of COVID cases, and thank God it's coming down, then it kept hitting further. And as Sergio said, this is a global problem. It's all the way around. And sometimes we on our side, we don't get what they've had to face. Every single construction site to have a washing station separate from the bath sites, all of these restrictions and increased costs on that alone was staffing, not just building materials. And so to solve that process and then have this tremendous price increase because COVID hitting the mills, COVID hitting the factories, COVID hitting everywhere.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And so now what I'm hearing today is that we've got to be prepared that for them to incorporate this possible 20 to 35% increase, you're going to get a smaller house for that price. Yes, there's no way around it. And so whether it's track home or custom home, but I think we have to, on our part, we need to just say, okay, yeah, you used to get a 2,000 square foot home at $120 a square foot. Those days are gone. They're not here. And so in that pricing factor, what I'm hearing our builders say, and for us to hear that, to understand this whole dynamic is that, okay, you be prepared that you're going to get an 1,800 square foot home for what you used to get a 2,400 square foot or 25 square foot home for. And so that's just where we're going to have to land in this, but to also just to understand what the city and the county did in the restrictions. Look at us, we couldn't even go into our offices, and then they have to go and they have to do all of this sanitizing, and all of these are a tremendous cost all the way around. When I go to a funeral home, do you know that every single day, 2 to 3 times a day, they have to bring a sanitizer person in and sanitize. So the cost of even funerals have gone up because I have another part of my life where I facilitate that. And so those have gone up significantly. Permits, everything has gone up. So I think, just simplifying it in the factor that we're just going to have to say, if you want a smaller, you're going to get less house footprint wise for what we're going to close on, so we can adapt in this market. If that meets the builders under, if y'all agree with me or not, just so we can help facilitate this. And I appreciate you all speaking into.
Carolina, that was perfectly said. And one of the big things that you said was, this is the way it is now. It's not going to change. It's not going to go back. We are in this market and it's not going to go back. The pricing is not going to get regulated. I was reading the chat over here on the side, and it's just the pricing is going to keep going up, and up. The bubble, I don't know where there's going to ever be a bubble, because we are in such a shortage, especially if we start taking contracts, we stop building because we can't control the cost. That demand will be there. The deficit in home building will be there. It started in the last recession, and where everybody stopped, building specs. And so that just, the housing has decreased year over year over year. And for us to get back on track is going to be many, many years if we can ever get caught up. So this is the new reality. These prices will only just continue to go up.
I would just ask that you all continue to work with us and see our value and walking alongside you, because we're hearing, a few builders are actually coming back and saying, if you don't have a realtor, you'll have a better deal. And, I just think that's, it hurts on both sides of the coin on that. So if we can just support each other in both arenas, that would be very much appreciated.
Well, I'm happy to say that the panel that we have here today is not doing that. Thank you.
Oh, of course
guys.
not.
Thank you for your support.
Of course not. No.
Right.
But,
Yes.
But, we appreciate you and love you. And I was wowed by our parade of homes. And I get to go and see so many homes, just stay nosy out there in the market. But you are very, very appreciative for your ingenuity and your creativeness and bringing freshness to El Paso. And so this is hard on you all. And thank you for being brave to, stay in there and brave the storm and just tell us how we can work with you. That's why I went to Minerva. I said, we've got to have this panel. We are in a terrible situation here. We need to, and she graciously canceled the Realtor Builder Committee meeting she had to, this month, so that we could facilitate this, because we're having so many repercussions. So thank you very much for doing this, Minerva, and all of you taking time out of your busy schedule to help us understand. And I'll stop because I know you have more questions. So thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Do we have any further questions at this point, Hilda?
Yes, I have one here. Are appraisals for the most part keeping up with closing prices?
From what we have seen, oh, go ahead, Mundo. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Sergio.
From what we have seen, appraisals so far are coming in even higher than the sales prices. We've had to talk to appraisers 1 or 2 times. I will ask you guys to please talk to appraisers if you can. That will be very helpful to us. We still haven't had that many issues, but the price increases started happening in November, December, the drastic ones, January, February. So we will see in the next few months. But if you get a chance to talk to appraisers, please mention these concerns, and that'll be greatly appreciated.
Sergio, with that said, really quick, I just want to ask you, do you believe this is going to continue, or do you feel that hopefully this eventually, once COVID, the factories open up, full speed and so forth, do you think that there's going to be changes on pricing and so forth? I'd like your opinion on that.
There is a lot of speculation right now. So long as the demand continues for new homes and resales, and the inventories remain low, and if we continue having COVID issues where people choose to remain home and they don't really want to sell their house or put it on the market, I think that will be cause for continued speculation. So I expect this market to get worse over the next 4, 5, 6 months before it gets a little better towards the winter. That's my personal opinion. I'd like to hear the other builders to see what they think. And maybe some of you guys, we haven't heard from the realtors, and I think that's important too. I know that time is limited, but I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergio.
As for us, Minerva,
Yes.
that was the reason why we decided to stop. One of the reasons why we decided to stop taking contracts, because like Samira mentioned earlier, they used to lock our pricing sometimes even for a year on materials. And they actually sent us a letter that the materials are just going to keep going up, at least as far as lumber. So instead of sending us an email saying we can lock right now, at least for the next year, at the price that we have right now, which is the highest that at least we have seen in our 16 years of building, they pretty much just sent us a letter telling us prices are going to continue to increase every month. So we have no idea when this is going to stop. At least if they could tell us, this is the highest, even though it is the highest we have ever seen, at least we could at least plan for the future, but we can't. They send us a letter telling us things are going to continue to go up, and they didn't give us a deadline. So as for us, we have no idea when the prices are going to stop increasing, which is scary.
Thank you, Juanita. Appreciate it. Would anyone else like to answer that question or have some input on that?
Again, it's all going to be demand related. If we continue to have this demand and this continues to be a global problem with materials, if we continue to have labor shortages, if everything continues, which the trajectory seems to point that way, I think it's going to continue.
Thank you.
I wanted to add, a year ago, we didn't even know we were going to be in business. Everything shut down, everything was very, very insecure. And nobody would have thought, that a year after it, we were going to be struggling and stopping contracts for coming. And I think that's all in reference to the appraisals, I even have appraisers calling me and wanting to confirm that that sales price, for that specific contract was accurate, because they thought it was too inexpensive for today's appraisals.
Wow. Wow. Interesting. Any other questions, Hilda?
Yes, why builders representatives are telling buyers that if they don't have a realtor, buyers will get more incentives, benefits.
I don't believe that this panel that we have today is doing that. I have heard of other builders doing that, and it's a shame, because at the end, realtor and builders need to work together. And so when this is all said and done, and God willing, we can get back to a semi-normal way of doing business, we're going to remember that as realtors. Those builders out there that were doing, having their sales reps or their agents doing that. This is at the end, I think we all need to just learn to work together and to respect one another.
one more thing, on a positive note, El Paso still has the lowest prices.
Excellent. Great way to end.
No, that's positive, man.
Well, without further ado, I would just like to thank each and every one of you for participating today. Thank you to our panel. Thank you to all of you. Wish you all the very best. Have a wonderful day and be safe. Did any of
Thanks
you
for
want to add
inviting us.
something before we close it?
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And please, everyone, continue to support our local builders. Thank you.
Thank you.
God
Thank
bless.
you. I wanted
Thank
to
you so much.
God bless everyone. Thank you.
you.
Bye-bye.